Alright everybody, I got Cousin Scott is here and just cracking a beer, getting the last few things kind of settled in. If anybody let us know if there's an echo with the audio or anything else. I'm doing it slightly different. Oop, hold on, here's an echo. Here we go. Yeah, we got echoes. Hold on.
What causes an echo?
My dumbass not muting the stream. Here we go. Alright. Should have thought of that. So, this stream is just going to be finishing up playing more of a game that I know very well, just because it'll be great to test. Here, Scott, we'll straighten out your camera for you.
It's going to be a separate one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, we're so baller.
I know, look at this. Because it's crazy. It's like, ooh, ooh.
Oh, there I am. It's a few seconds, but oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That is an eerie sensation right there.
So, alright, well, you got a laptop to watch the chat, so if the chat goes ignored, you could absolutely blame Scott. And I'm just going to go through this game, and this is the first time you're seeing Woozle's HDMI kit up into a TV, right?
This is my first time, yeah. Well, I mean, I saw your stream.
Well, I mean, but live in person.
Live in person, my first time, yes.
So, I mean, right off the bat, right? Holy shit.
It's looking great, yeah. Your TV has that extra dynamic range, and I think it spills over into regular things that you watch, too, because, like, the reds just look redder and the blues are bluer. It's quite a spectacle on this OLED here, which is, you know, half of the equation. There's that, and then there's the actual mod, right?
Yeah.
So where is the mod situated in the room? Is it?
So I can hold it up
now.
because
Yeah,
it would shut the whole stream off, but it replaces where the screen goes. So that's actually perfect because there's a ton of GBAs without backlit screens that you could still get for almost nothing, and you don't really have to worry about any of the.
That's true. It's like a $30 item, right?
Yeah. And then you install this kit in it, and you know I wouldn't feel bad throwing out a beat ass old non-backlit screen.
Yeah, I have one or two lying around. Yeah, and I see that. So is that SNES adapter like a standard thing on it, or is that special?
Yeah, no, that comes with it. So you could actually play the entire game just with a regular Super Nintendo controller. Woozle actually tested it with the 8-bit DOE wireless one, and he made some changes to make sure that actually works fine. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow, I kind of wish like every mod had that. Especially you. You always want to play with the SNES controller, no matter like what it is. The Genesis game, let's play with the SNES controller. It's 2600. Let's figure out how to play with the SNES controller.
I always want to play Game Boy Advance and SNES games with the SNES controller. Yeah, and if I had to choose one, like if I had to pick, you're right. But I do actually. One of the things when I first got the NT Mini, when I was playing Game Boy and Game Boy Color games with the Nintendo controller, it felt right, man. It felt like exactly what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, it's a very like right controller. I mean, you know, it overcame the rather silly mistake, which you know I think you can chalk up to like 80s aesthetics, that like the SNES controller or the NES controller, as beautiful as it is like the least comfortable shape you can imagine, right? So like,
yeah,
it just it in that key area, and then in adding more buttons, it really just made it an incredible improvement on gaming in general. And then after that, it was all about adding complexity and like allowing you to do new and different things with video games. But the truth of the matter is that like 80% of video games and almost 100% of the types of video games that you and I like to play, like can be played with that controller. So it's you know.
Man, is there a trick to this until you get the spacer? I mean the screw attack, you know, space jump?
Do you already have like high jump boots? I mean, I can't remember that exact spot.
I think
I feel like in the original, you were like right towards like the beginning of the game, right? And if this was like regular Metroid.
You mean towards the beginning screens?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think in the original Metroid, and I could be wrong about this, that was something that you could achieve with high jump boots. But I don't know for sure.
Wait, hold on. This is, do I have...
Can you do, like, wall jumping and stuff in this game?
I think... but I think that's an awkward place to do it.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to go back and be a wimp. Anybody in the chat have any suggestions on that? And once again, guys...
Someone says the SNES controller is king.
Yeah.
And there's another guy who agrees it's the best ever made. Some guy wants to know, sup, dude.
Yeah.
This is my first time looking at one of these before.
Yeah, I know. It's
Saturn Model 2 for me, but the SNES feels right at home.
Yeah, that's
the Saturn. Is the Saturn controller kind of like that 6-button Genesis controller, like in like approximate aesthetics? Like,
it's a little bigger. But
let me look it up.
It's comfy. Yeah, all my stuff's still in storage. Otherwise, I'd say just
let's grab it. Yeah. Well, I think that there's like a Nintendo camp and a Genesis camp that persists to this day. Of course there is. And that extends in every direction. Like, there's the games and like the kinds of games that came on the systems. But then you get like kind of tribalist about the controllers and stuff too. I know I do.
So I just turned the volume up on our TV a little bit because unlike last time, since it's live, there's no we don't have headsets on or anything. So if that echoes now or anything, please let us know and I'll turn it off.
Oh yeah, I like this Saturn controller. I can see it right now. It is kind of like the 6-button SNES or Genesis controller that came out, but it's a bit of a bigger shape. Yeah, they improved on their controllers significantly beyond the Genesis. I never liked the... You're a fan of the 3-button Genesis one, right?
Yeah.
That always felt a little squishy to me. But as they moved along, I thought that that the Dreamcast controller had like very satisfying buttons on them. They had kind of like a unique kind of click to them that I don't think I've really seen on a Nintendo product.
So I vaguely remember doing this, and this was a really hard one for me to get because you have to do the see if anybody in the chat knows what the heck.
Does anybody know how to get? Do you have to like power run as like a ball or something like that to get that?
I don't remember. Check the chat, see if anybody knows down there.
Who knows? Come on. Does one have to like write into this chat, or are they listening?
Just
to
read it.
No. Nobody's written anything.
Right.
So
I guess nobody knows at the moment.
We'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Do you have the run thing yet?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. What's that called?
Speed booster.
Speed booster. So where are you approximately in the game?
I beat Kraid, so I think I'm on to Ridley, right?
So I don't remember the Kraid battle in this that clearly, but of course it's like a watershed moment in the SNES history, of course. How does this compare against like the Super Metroid Kraid battle?
Well, the other save game I have on the ROM cart here, I never beat. It was just for testing. So you could only play it in normal mode. I can't play it in hard, and it was super easy. I beat it with like half my missiles gone in like 10 seconds.
Well, Kraid is pretty easy too in Super Metroid, but like just in terms of like the spectacle of it, cool.
Yeah, but you know the thing that always kind of gets me nowadays when I play the original Metroid is just how clunky the controls feel, how small Kraid is. Like
you're talking about Metroid. I was talking about Super Metroid.
Oh, no. It's, this is a little better, I think.
Oh, yeah? Cool. Well, that's, like, their obligation, I suppose, right? I mean, this is, like, 10 years afterwards, that.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's where you do the run thing. That's how you get down. I remember now. Alright, so this is just perfect. I should have done this first. Watch the scrolling when you run.
Oh, that'll be a good test, yeah.
There's nothing. It's perfect.
Persistent problem with the Game Boy Advance on top of everything else. That's such a hard console to...
Yeah, now, when you go up and down the stairs, you see, but don't forget that's just because the whole screen's moving. There's no judder going left to right. Everything's perfect. Man, that thing's awesome. More down here. Oops.
I feel like...
Oh, that's right, we gotta get...
They really went the extra mile with these games. If we get later in the game, I think that the late chapter, like stealth type stuff in this game is really cool. So is the next stop to go into Norfair and find Ridley, or is there kind of more to it in this one?
Well, I think you gotta get the high jump and then one other thing maybe before Ridley.
Oh, okay. Is there like
Oh, no.
there you go.
Yeah, you know what we need? Various suit.
I just lost my train of thought. So do you know this game from start to finish well enough to you got it. To be able to just sort of coast through it, or
Whatever I remember, and that's both good and bad because I have a shockingly good memory, but you know, I also maybe partied a little too hard back in the day, so my memory, if I was partying while playing this game, it's completely
the day
gone.
meaning today. Back in that day, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right. So
Going
we gotta
into
go back
Sunday.
up here in Brinstar before we can go back down and fight Ridley. Try in the chat. See what it was.
Oh, well, we actually have all kinds of comments. Look at this. I might have. I'm dropping the ball.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to. I'm not at that point yet where I could actually just play and read the chat. Maybe with a game like this that I know so well, but certainly not. Ooh, I want to check something else and come back to that. Yeah, but certainly not like a newer game. And unfortunately for you, Scott, you're going to be stuck with me on a bunch of these. So
That's okay. I need something to do with all the hours of life. I think I remember liking the ones with the steel bearing in there the best. I guess they're still talking about controllers there.
Oh yeah. All right, so all that stuff is stuff we can't.
You
get
gotta start running in the room with the speed blocks into the other room. Run back as quickly as possible and reopen the door. Move back slightly off the ramp, leading to the door.
Oh, that's
And
right.
It should line up with the block in the other room, if that makes sense. Wow.
Okay, maybe if I'm back in that area, I might try it like once, but I am so
And you
bad
have to
at
morph
that.
into the morph ball before you
Yeah,
go
I don't
through
want
the
to waste time on stream. I'm not a streamer. I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's a completionist item, and like, you know, I think that these Metroid games are great that they put things in there that are as complicated as that. I remember in Super Metroid, there's a great part where you have to like get a running start through 2 rooms and then do that stop move and then jump straight up.
Yeah.
That's a terrific. I always enjoy solving that little, you know, like platforming puzzle. And it's good that these games put that kind of stuff in there for people who want to engage with them in that kind of way. But like, I mean, I don't watch much streaming myself, but like, I find it would. I imagine it would be a certain kind of torture to watch somebody try to do those things like
I
a dozen times before they got it right. You know, like.
Yeah, I'm doing this because I want to. I just wanted to show everybody what I was seeing when testing Woozles, and I wanted to do a podcast with you at some point soon. So I figured it'd be more fun to do them both at the same time. But no, watching me trying to figure out how to do this. All right, let me just do it once, just to see. So we get it. Stop.
Whoa.
Shoot. Go down, shoot. Oh, see, I missed it. And then I was supposed to jump in that direction. Let me do one last try, but I don't think I can do it. Okay, shoot. Go down, shoot. No, I couldn't.
No.
I'm not wasting everybody's time with that bullshit.
A noble effort to have tried, Bob.
That's why the guys like Carsey that can get on here and freaking and just do that shit in the first or second try. It's awe-inspiring. Just like, damn, dude, you are better than I will ever be at these things. You know who's actually... Remember when Renee hit it up in Montreal? He's actually really good at the Metroid games.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's right. He was telling me. He had all kinds of, like, sequence breaks and stuff that he was... and he was doing it in front of... they were playing a game of it. And,
Oh, yeah.
I like watching people sequence break Super Metroid on the internet and don't particularly enjoy doing it in practice myself. But I do revisit, you know, Super Metroid with, like, more regularity than, like, just about anything else. But whenever I play it, I feel like I'm a slacker in this regard, but I always just enjoy, like, soaking up the atmosphere and exploring and, you know, just going through the set pieces and stuff, and that next level of gameplay has just never been part of my, like, engagement with these games, but except as a spectator.
So is there really no other way to freaking do this? Maybe.
Oh wait! Whoa!
All
Look
right.
at that! You are a badass.
I was hoping to find a way to actually do that without, cheating and doing the bomb jump, but whatever.
Bomb jumping isn't cheating.
No, I've seen some dudes just be able to jump around and do that like they knew what they were doing. It's not me. I say dudes. The one thing that I'm trying to change about myself is I always say guys and dudes, but I'm actually referring to human beings. And it's like, some people, I would say that most people I'm around could not give a flying fuck. Like when my friends won that, a bunch of female rugby players won a game, and it was just one of those intense, insane games. And I walked into the bar to meet them afterwards. I was like, "You guys did great," and they were like, "Yeah." But I've also been to places where like there was a big group of people, and there was actually mostly women. And I went in there and was like, "Hey man, what's up, guys?" And the response was, "There's ladies here too." It's like, yeah, there's like 6 of you and 2 of him. I'm clearly talking to everybody. Like, so I gotta watch it. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Yeah, guys is one of those things that on the plus side of using the word guys, at least it's not like offensive, but it's just one of those gendered expressions that like it's probably gonna fall out of popularity in the
I
coming
still
years.
call so many people dude. I've known Rachel for 15 years now. Every time I talk to her, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?"
Yeah, and if we were the Wild West, they would punch you in the face for calling you that.
I guess. I don't mean it disrespectfully.
Everything changes. Someone has never been so busy in their life.
Say what?
That's what someone says.
That I haven't?
Game Tech US, I've never been so busy in my life.
Game Tech, that's Jason. Jason.
Hey Jason, how's it going? I'm glad you're busy.
Yeah, me too. That means he's getting business. We need more business for all of us so that we could have more funds to make more cool shit. So Jason announced that he will actually be the reseller for this. Probably worldwide for now, but at the very least for the U.S. definitely. And I don't know if there's any details. Actually, Jason, if you're still in the chat, man, maybe if there's any details that you want people to know at the moment. I just know that if you guys are interested, go to Game Tech, and that's where you can buy these. But it's I don't know. I'm excited. Scott, have you seen one glitch since I started?
No, I have not.
What Game Boy Advance solution have we used that we have seen 0 glitches?
No, it's always a little shitty. It's always a little glitchy. It's always. I mean, it seems amazing that it could work at all. I mean,
now the Game Boy interface.
Now, are you playing in the normal mode for this? Are you playing in the like? Didn't you say that there was like a speedrunner mode or something like that? That like, it's doing some kind of frame rate work here.
No,
that, like they can turn off for that.
So I'm actually not sure if that's going to be official yet or what the deal is with that, but if you are a speedrunner playing in this, I think it has to be sped up a couple of milliseconds. So I think this might. Am I doing this right, or should I go backwards the other way? Should I be going up here or down here?
Where are you trying to get to? Up to there.
I'm assuming. You know what? I think I'm fucking this all up. I'm gonna go back down and run back around.
That looks like an advanced technique they'd be asking you to do halfway through the game.
Yeah, I thought I was trying to be crafty, but I'm not good enough for that. But yeah, that's for speedrunners. You could clock out just a few microseconds on each frame, so that after, if you're speedrunning and you're playing for a couple of hours, you could have a slightly unfair advantage. So I believe in the final version it'll actually be a jumper or a different way to actually get original speed, and it will have screen tearing, so you will get that judder every couple of frames. But it's a small price to play if you just want.
If you're playing it for real, I mean, you got to play it for real.
The Game Boy interface, right? So I was actually just about to say before
the GameCube thing, right?
Yeah, that thing. The Game Boy interface software itself doesn't have any real glitches. I mean, maybe little things like rumble support and stuff like that, but actually, video playing the game, it's awesome. That's when I said glitches. It wasn't the Game Boy interface software itself. It's just everything that goes into it. So now if you want an HDMI solution, you gotta find a GC video, and you gotta make sure everything's all lined up and working. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because any speedrunners, I believe you could use the Game Boy interface, and you could even record your own. You could record the games to the SD card as you're playing.
Mhm.
Pretty cool, right?
Woozle says there's a menu setting to run the original speed.
Shader, palette, TX. I'm in the menu, man. Woozle's up here? That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says, what about the Dracon knife? I repeat.
Yeah, and actually, I think in this week's roundup, I'll be talking a lot about the Game Boy interface because Extrems did a whole bunch of updates and stuff. So actually, Scott, people who watched the first stream have already seen this, but you have not, and maybe people that haven't watched it yet. Select and down brings up this menu.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I saw you doing this.
Yeah, a couple different types of scan lines.
That's easier to see on the TV than it was in your stream.
Yeah. The palettes are for Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, leave it off.
Let's try that one, actually. Extreme corner. It's input black. Oh, Extremes is in the chat. You know, I feel like every time I talk about the Game Boy interface, I get something wrong. I'm sorry, Extremes, and I don't mean to. If it makes you feel any better, I talk to the HD Retrovision guys on a regular basis, and I still get almost every announcement of theirs wrong, too. I'm supposed to be back there. What am I missing here? Let me try. Save just on it. Did Woozle respond about getting into the menu to switch it?
Let's try this.
Missing something. My memory's going on me then. And I don't have the various suit yet, so I can't jump in there.
Nothing in response.
Well, if you're watching, man, let me know how I can get in the menu, because this is the new one. This isn't the prototype.
There's something to the left of the save room. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
over here. Oh, there you go. Thanks,
right.
Thanks, Paul Ramos.
And I couldn't have gotten there without the high jump, which is why. Alright.
No, they're crafty, those guys.
So, remember the little dots eat the things?
Oh, wow. I forgot that entirely.
Me too.
Ah!
Alright. Yeah.
Keep doing it, baby.
That wasn't terrible. That wasn't terrible at all.
So then Woozle said, what was the question? Okay, so...
Woozle said that you could actually change it in the menu so that you could turn off you could set it to speedrunning mode in the menu. Is that true? Is there a different way to do it, or is it still just the select menu?
That's the question.
And Scott, there's usually about a 1 minute delay with this. Oh, hey, there's the various.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we look forward to...
1 minute in the future.
Yeah. Is that the way it is for, like, all live streaming? It's like a minute behind?
You could set it to the lowest latency possible, but then you get very bad jitter and stuttering.
Uh-huh.
So it's just not worth it for these streams.
Okay, so he says there's no overclock option in your kit. I added that option after I sent the kit to Jason.
Oh, okay.
And then James Machuga is asking, when's your review of the Super NT?
Any of my reviews that I'm going to be doing are probably going to have to wait until I move, because all of my equipment's it's not set up in a way where I could flip a switch. Like, it took an hour to set this up today, even though I already knew exactly how to set it up. So I would say at least a month. And to be honest, I'd rather focus on the analog output and because there's just so many reviews on the Super NT. I think I'll just do like a mini review on it and then focus on the analog side. I emailed Chris Tabor and got no response. I'm pretty sure that guy does not like me, so I don't expect a response at all.
But there is like a scheduled like arrival of analog stuff coming for it.
He teased RGB output. Excuse me, and this beer is Wally Juice from Walchusen? I don't know. Yeah.
From Wally World?
I think that's the joke.
Okay.
My friend got it for me yesterday, but yeah, they teased on Twitter that they were going to have an adapter, and it's my assumption. Now, this is all speculation, but it is my assumption that it would require Kevtris programming in something like a 240p HDMI mode, and then have the chip inside of that adapter send it using it's called EDID. Like when it's plugged in, the Super NT would see that was plugged in, and automatically switch to 240p mode, and then allow that output. But that's actually pretty cool, because if he does that, then that might allow for 240p output on everything that Kevtris does, including the high def NES, including like I think what I gotta do is get those things and run back down here. So I'll go back out. But yeah, so that's the analog output. But I have heard nothing from them, and I think the rest of the world will probably hear before I do. Man, Woozle, this is some good shit. I can't wait to have you on for an interview soon. This is killer. Alright.
And even though I'm looking at it through a tripod, I can tell this is the real shit right here.
You're not looking at it through the tripod. You look around it, dick. When I move, it'll be a tripod-free streaming experience.
That's the day I look forward to, bud. There you go.
Alright. Wouldn't it have been much cooler if I wall jumped and got in here instead? How cool a sequence break would that have been?
I would have liked it if you could have pulled one of those off.
You know,
do people sequence break this game as much as like Super Metroid?
I mean, everything could be sequence break. The problem is, I would still have had to gone back to get the Varia suit. Otherwise, I couldn't have gone into.
Well, yeah, but some games are more breakable than others, right? I mean, like.
Oh yeah. Alright, so now we get the Varia suit, we're back down. Yeah, left here. So I have to tease Extrems a little bit. Sorry, dude. He finally, after a couple of years of having one of the coolest pieces of software to ever reach the GameCube, finally now has added it to the GC Forever wiki. So we can finally all go to the same place to find all the info on it. So I'm teasing you both because I'm glad there's everything in one place, but also because my wiki is still in beta form and not open to the public. So I'm failing worse than you are. So. Thank you for taking the time to do that, though, because that's a big deal. People are really going to dig just going in one place for all the source of info, because that software does so much. You really need a wiki just to understand how to use all the features.
So people are saying that speed runs for this are nuts. Dash jump strats, maintaining the charge.
Yeah,
shine sparking in ball form.
I wouldn't even begin to know how to do that.
The acid worm skip is one of the most annoying.
Oh,
what's shine sparking? Is that when you?
That's when you charge up and then jump, and you could do it diagonally and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah.
When I get to a place where I could run, I'll show you how to do all the basic. It's funny. I wonder how deep the original developers meant for that to actually work. Okay, I wonder if they really meant for it to be as crazy as people have meant it to be. Oh wait, that's right. You get wall jump with the Varia suit.
Oh, cool. That's convenient. I am of a mind, and I could be wrong about this, but I always kind of assumed that they didn't fully predict, like, the kinds of things that people will be doing with it later on.
Well,
Like, people are actually effectively breaking the game and doing so, but that they probably decided sometime before they released the game that, like, they noticed that certain kinds of things could be done by advanced players, and then said to themselves, like, let's leave that in. Like, that's not a... Like, this breakage is not actually a break at all. Like, it could become a virtue for the game for people who want to replay it. And, but okay, that's
diagonal. So
is it referred to the diagonal one, or is it just
no,
referred to
shine
all of them?
sparking is just doing this, and then so you hit down, and then you jump, and then immediately change your D-pad, and then I think it uses some. Let's try that again.
It uses health?
Oh, neat.
I think it does in Super Metroid.
Can't remember if it does in this. Oh, and I have to run to get down here anyway. Moron.
Woozle says, I want to make a flex cable to install it in the Game Boy Pocket. But no need to wait on that. That could just be one soldered a bunch of individual wires.
A flex cable to install it in what? Game Boy Player, you mean?
Well, it says Game Boy GPP on here.
Game Boy Player, yeah, the hardware for the GameCube.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Ooh. Oh, that's right. I need this super missiles from here.
Some devs unpatch games to restore their bugs. That is some fascinating shit.
Huh.
Doesn't apply to these old Nintendo games and stuff, but like, yeah, you'd think that like it's normally the other way around. But if it ends up like damaging the scene, right? Like I guess they might feel inclined to be like, okay, back to version 1, huh? I never thought about that before. That's
Neither did I.
fascinating. Is there any upside to this versus an HDMI component output on the GameCube via GBP?
So there's a few, but it's mostly just preference. So the number one advantage by far, that's pretty much indisputable, is that if you don't own any of this stuff at all, you only own modern consoles, you sold all your own retro equipment, and you want to just play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance on your flat screen, and that's it, no bullshit. This is by far the better one because you just have to buy a Game Boy Advance and this. It's when you start talking about people who already own all of the equipment and people who have specific needs, there's probably a scenario where one might be better than the other. But in a perfect world, if everybody has everything they need, and I really don't think, I might use this out of simplicity, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
For now, don't forget, you have to have a lot in order to get the Game Boy interface working in this type of environment.
Can you get it? Isn't it still just going to look like the Game Boy Player? Like, isn't like all the framework that's going on here? Like, there's problems with the Game Boy Player, right? I mean,
yeah, I think you're confusing something though, Scott.
What?
So the Game Boy Player hardware, the disc that comes with it, the official Nintendo disc, is garbage. Just, there's no reason to use it at all anymore. What Extrems wrote is software for the Game Boy Player hardware.
oh, okay. So the hardware can do better than it did originally.
Oh yeah,
And that's out there.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's his software that made that happen. So, and at the moment, when this kit's going to be released, the Game Boy interface software, Extrems and stuff, is still going to be the only way that you can get RGB output.
Uh-huh.
So at least for the foreseeable future, until there's other options, my choice in playing is going to be this for flat screens, and the Game Boy interface for RGB monitors.
Fascinating.
It's always these decisions in the Metroidvania style games on which way to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if I decided to go right, I would have never gotten the map room.
Especially when you're just trying to rush through it.
Yeah, I'm really looking for Ori 2. Looking forward to Ori 2. That should be a couple months away, I think.
What's that?
Ori and the Blind Forest was an Xbox One game that was... I absolutely loved it. For some reason, it started out slow, or maybe I was just in a pissy mood, and that's why I thought it started out slow. You never know. But
Games start out slow. A lot of them go.
but I absolutely loved it. I thought it was just amazing, and I really am looking forward to playing the sequel.
Is that like one of those like cell animated style platformers or something, or?
I think it's a little bit more than that. It's Metroidvania style, and the second one, I believe the guy who made another Metroid 2 remake, AM2R, is actually the guy doing the music for this.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
AM2R is really cool. You showed me that.
Son of a bitch. I'm gonna freeze all these. Maybe I could gain a little. Alright, I think get it around here first.
Oh, look at that.
I can't remember if there's a secret the other way or this way or... wait, there's more down there?
Nope.
I guess not. Come on, get the fuck up here.
It's a costly experiment.
Yeah, I guess it was. Shit. Shit. Son of a bitch. This one's gonna fucking kill me. God damn it. I haven't died yet when I'm playing this.
You can do it!
It was a costly experiment. It would be the first time I die since I started this game. Here's the thing that bugs me. Look at the map. I gotta get that. I gotta clear out. Like, when I'm trying to play, like, I gotta know what's up here, and it's nothing. I do think, though, for 100% runs on Super Metroid, you don't actually need to get all the non-gray area, or like all the gray areas colored.
I always thought it was driven by your missile counts and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
get to visit every room. Like,
It feels so non-completionist, though.
yeah, I know, right? There's one or two rooms in Super Metroid that, unless I have been missing something my entire life, serve like absolutely no purpose whatsoever.
Oh, there's a lot that serve no purpose.
And this is in a game that is like really quite efficient, like quite good at giving you something to do in every room. Like if you compare it to like Castlevania, for instance, I mean like there's like whole tracks of those kinds of maps that like, you know, there's not necessarily very much that like you need to be able to do if you're not trying to grind or something like that. But of course, there's always a couple.
Wave beam, shoot through walls. Awesome. So, this is the only complaint I really have against Zero Mission, and I'm totally going to cheat now. But the fact that you could just re-up every time you pass one of these statues, and you could re-up as many times as you want, totally feels like it makes the game way easier than it should be.
Well, they were trying to make a game that... They had to make Metroid, original Metroid, easier than than the original Metroid is, because like the grinding in that game is like the fucking pits. And I agree with you that like what they ended up using to solve this problem like feels cheap, but like the reason why I'll never play the original Metroid again is because like there were times where you just had to go like back and forth to rooms just killing guys because you needed to get a certain amount of health just to be able to like continue, and like there's very little fun to be had in that from my opinion.
Yep.
So they had to do something.
Well, I just got a call from Voltar.
Someone says you're really thankful for those charges on low-level runs.
Yeah, but when you're talking about runs, you're talking about people who are more talented than dream to be that use these things to all of your advantage possible. You're not talking about guys like me that just want to play the game. You know how I test it? I play the fucking game. You remember that shit? I love that interview. That's one of my favorites.
There you go. That thing's cool.
And without the wave beam, you wouldn't be able to shoot through the bottom of it.
And you were just able to murder it. Right there. Look at you.
Ooh.
Look at that.
So what's your thoughts on that, right? So like, in the original game, when you first played this, your choices were, like, there was no way to really know to do any of that. So you had to, like, go hunt around in the next room. I kind of liked it, but there are a few parts where it gets a little cheap. Like in Super Metroid where you have to bomb that one spot in the ground.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, I think that there's a component of that kind of stuff that is sort of important for your initial experiences with the game. And, like, that original, like, when you feel like an explorer and you're going through it, like, that kind of stuff has, like, a narrow and specific place for where it's, I think, important for gamers to, experience a little bit of pain when they're playing the games. But I find that kind of stuff kind of frustrating when I am playing them now. Like, when it's mostly an opportunity for me to turn off. Like, there's certain games where there's just suffering that you need to do to be able to get through it that, I am only in the right mindset for that, like, the one time, the first time I play it.
Yeah, I think for me, there's a fine line between an interesting challenge and just how the hell would you ever figure that out? And I think it's mostly better these days. It's not like the days of NES where it's like, like that famous Castlevania 2 where you have to, like, kneel down and wait for the thing. Like, but I don't know. That also very much depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm just like, ooh, cool, a puzzle. And other times I'm like, I just want to shoot shit. What's going on?
Well, there's good puzzles, and then there's, like, cheesy, corny, like, like, random puzzles that don't get solved by, like, using your brain. It's about, like, you just surviving long enough to, like, expend every single opportunity, Like, there's a lot of old adventure games that are like that, where some of those games that, like, to enjoy them really as a modern person who doesn't have an unlimited amount of free time, like, at some point you're, like, you sort of have to fucking, like, go, consult a walkthrough for some of that stuff. So in this game, you fire missiles by holding the R button down, right?
Correct.
How do you like that compared to Super Metroid, where you select it?
It's just a matter of getting used to it, I guess. I'll tell you one thing I could say for damn sure, though. I like it way better playing it on a Super Nintendo controller than anything else.
There you go.
That was actually a big complaint for me about the GBA SP, was how quickly the shoulder buttons died.
Yeah, the shoulder buttons have died on Nintendo products of mine for years. I had to take in my DS Lite for shoulder button replacement, and I did so, and then, like, a year later, like, the screen died, and I took it to Video Games New York.
Oh, yeah?
And in the course of them fixing the screen, they're like, your buttons are about to go, and they're, like, imitation ones.
Oh, yeah?
And I said, well, I sent them right to Nintendo. Like,
Nintendo used imitation buttons?
And what they said on the phone there was that, like, yeah, Nintendo, like, sometimes sends off their repairs to third parties. And, like, who knows what they're doing there.
Right.
And so for, like, I don't know, an extra $10-15 or something like that, they fixed the buttons and they work better than they ever have before. But I am so frustrated that those games, that these damn consoles, like, have buttons that die like that.
Hey, real quick though, this is one thing that always, I don't know why, I just thought it was interesting. So you see the dead thing there, right? You go
It's
through.
alive.
Well,
Okay, yeah, I got to see it.
And now it's down. And then when we come back around, eventually there'll just be a hole.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you'll see.
That's cool. Do you have to like wait a while, or can you just kind of like
No,
go
you'll
back and
see
forth?
because when you go through here, you go through and around. I like the cutscenes too.
Yeah, me too.
So did you see how there was like a red line straight across the top?
No.
Woozle, if you're still watching this, I've seen things that I don't think are related to the HDMI product. I think it's just kind of how the Game Boy Advance works, but I would love to know, like on the title screen and just then, like why it's done like that. Is it just simply a matter of the low resolution and they didn't expect it to be, I guess, played in 720p on a 4K TV where you could see all these different things?
And so, do you have your? Is it going into like a splitter box, and like one is going into the computer here, and one of them's going to the TV?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Can't do this way.
Just can't wait for Neo Geo, as that's really going to be a total first.
Neo Geo?
Are they going to do some kind of Neo Geo Pocket stuff? Oh, Woozle
yeah.
says here, maybe after doing the Neo Geo Pocket and Game Gear stuff, we'll get into some other stuff. Is that coming? Neo Geo Pocket?
That is something that Woozle has teased, yes.
That would be cool.
So right now, the only other way to play Neo Geo Pocket games on a big TV that doesn't require emulation is by buying something that has gone up exponentially in price over the past many years. So I had an opportunity to get one right when I very first started RetroRGB for like $1,200.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, I was like, "Oh, I don't have the money for this. I'll just buy another one the next time I see it." Now they go for like $5,000. All right, I think
For those dedicated few.
I think you got to go back up and around and drop down. I think that's what that was here. Bless you. Yeah,
That's
all
really
right.
cool. Look at that.
So you have to go down and around, and then when you come back, there's the hole.
Oh, wow, he really got busy. You're inside Ridley. From Alien.
Oh, the eggs.
Creepy eggs. More creepy eggs. Whoa. That thing is cool. I like it when you look at these old sprite games and you can kind of tell like a big object is made out of like, you know, a bunch of smaller objects. Like there's the wings there, and then there's like the tail and the main body, and they're all kind of like working together, but they're different parts.
Shit. You bastard. Ah.
Whoa!
Cool, right?
Oh man, they put the super missile way late in this game.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Down here. So. Alright.
So is this on an original cart?
No, I'm actually using the Game Boy GBA EverDrive.
Oh, cool. But this is one of the games that you actually do own, though, right?
Of course, yeah.
You gotta own this one. I can't remember if it was this game or if it was Game Boy Fusion, but I had 2 copies of one, and the first copy I had, the battery died on it, and I thought I could open it up and there would be like a battery that I could replace in it, like a Super Nintendo cart, but there wasn't, and it was just like the cart just kind of died. And then the next one that I bought had a battery inside of it.
Huh, anybody in the chat know what that is? I assumed they all had batteries.
No, somewhere along the lines they went to like, I think it's flash memory or something. But
Then why would it, that would mean the flash chip would have had to have died, I think.
Yeah, I mean the game was just busted basically. It was like, you know. But that was very frustrating because it also wouldn't hold to save. Like you would play the game and the next time you'd come back it'd be gone.
Oh, this son of a bitch. I remember this crap.
There's got to be something hiding in like a fake thing. Yeah, there it is.
Son of a bitch.
So, am I correct in saying that you're in the Zero Mission camp compared to Fusion, right?
Yeah, and I don't know why. Because I think Fusion's probably a better game overall. There's just something about this game where it's just like the familiarity, but it's different. But you know, it's everything I'd want in a remake of the original Metroid. You know,
That's a great game, and I like that this is the one that doesn't have any dialogue in it. Like I like the non-verbal storytelling in the original Super Metroid is like its principal virtue, maybe. And it seems like a very bad mistake in Fusion that they have all this excruciatingly boring text throughout it, and I don't deny that. But for my money, I think that it has just sort of like more new Metroid experiences in it. Like it's evidence of how conservative the franchise can sometimes be. That like how radical it seems that like she's wearing a different color suit. You know, in that game.
Yeah.
But there's some chapters in it that are pretty, where you just sort of like have like a cinematic set piece that, or an environment that like just hasn't been featured in a Metroid game before, and I just think like bang for your buck. It's also I think is the virtue of being a little harder. But I think that
so
you're
many
probably
cool
in
things about it though. The different zones, now each zone has a different feel, and like very awesome things about it.
Well, you know, like that's something that like that's the best thing about Metroid too is that like Metroid has always relied on zones that all have different feels to them, as do a lot of Nintendo games and probably like video games in general. But like, I always felt that like what was cool about Metroid is that it was like a, you know, like a more grown up feeling. Franchise than a lot of the other Nintendo products, but it was also still just as colorful as, you know, like they've never made a shit brown Call of Duty Metroid game. Like there's always going to be
some people feel that Other M was like that, but I like that a lot.
Well, I mean, Other M has qualities about it that are indicative of, you know, like more modern genres, but I still think that like from a just sort of like an art direction and design standpoint, like it's very Metroid in its execution. Like it has all these like, you know, like dangerous plants and like little bugs and stuff like that are very Metroid to me, I think.
To be honest, the only real complaint I have about it is that I think a game with that much, I just feel like games like that are way better off in high resolution, whereas this game. I mean, I love that it looks perfect on my TV, running 720p upscaled to 4K, but this is still essentially a sub 240p game, and it's perfect. Yep. Whereas I think Other M really would benefit from an HD remake. Or at least being able to be rendered in higher resolutions.
Am I correct that, like, entrepreneuring hackers have done such a thing? Didn't they make like HD like Dolphin Wii's and stuff?
So the
like
Dolphin emulator can render in higher resolutions. And apparently it looks pretty fucking phenomenal. So I would like to try that at some point.
Yeah, I had heard. I never really. I think I saw some stuff on the internet. I haven't like seen it in action or anything. But for the general stink that exists for Other M, I'd posit that it won't be the first game that we see get an HD remake.
No,
there's
I
a
think
lot
there's
of
gonna
you
be
know
a bunch
like
of others.
we'll see all the Zeldas and the Mario Galaxies and frankly the other Metroid games that came out on the Wii would certainly be in line before that one.
So the last time we talked on camera was the time we walked into that random bar and it was empty. And we're like, "Fuck it, let's shoot a segment for the podcast."
That was sort of like a goodbye, right?
Yeah, that was for when I honestly thought that might be
Yeah.
the last episode ever. From that point until now, has there been anything that you or we have worked on that you thought would be worth talking about?
As far as like the video game sphere is concerned, I don't really have an awful lot to report.
Or movies, video. Basically, I think almost all of us here watching are just overall like tech nerds.
Mhm.
So I mean, obviously, lovingly and with respect.
Well, we did see a few movies on the IMAX, which are of some note. I think we saw Ready Player One and we saw Infinity War. Infinity War as a matter of like choice when choosing your format. Like they shot a portion of, or maybe all of Infinity War on IMAX's new digital cameras, and like, well, I wasn't the world's biggest fan of the film by any stretch of the imagination. I did feel that it was a worthwhile experience to see, like what people are doing on like the bleeding edge of like large format video presentation, and I found that to be like generally pretty interesting. If I didn't necessarily find a lot of the I don't think they were using the camera in a way that was particularly well suited for the IMAX format, for instance, not just Christopher Nolan and stuff like that, but also compared to Ready Player One, which is the other film that we saw in the presentation. I just generally found that the verve and the excitement of the the large format presentation of that film was a bit more I think worthy bang for my buck, and that was a film that wasn't actually to my knowledge made to output anything in particular for its IMAX presentation. I think it was just basically the same file that you would be looking at if you were looking at it in like a 4K 3D presentation in a regular theater. I could be wrong about that, but just goes to show you that when it comes to technology, it's all about it's in the service of the craft and the art of something. And that said, I think that it will be a viable format for these tentpole films that'll inevitably be coming out. And if you're getting more to look at in the special IMAX presentations than you necessarily do in the theater, in the regular theater, which is the case in Infinity War, because it's a different aspect ratio than I think you'd be watching it in a regular theater, although doesn't fill the whole screen. Just in general, I found that to be a worthwhile experience to have experienced with you.
Well, you and I do have slightly different opinions on things like this, because for me, having a good TV that I took the time to calibrate and everything looks as good as it can on it is very important to me. So if there's a movie that I could watch at home with the same experience as the theater, I'd rather just watch it at home. Whereas you've always been, you love the excitement of the theater and all that stuff. And
I just want to shout out Nerdly Pleasures here, who says IMAX and digital meh, horizontal 70 can't be beat. With you on that, buddy. And Voltar says that he's nude.
Really?
Yeah.
Pics or it didn't happen. Pics or it didn't happen.
I guess everybody's naked now.
I'm usually pantsless when I do this. I still have boxers on, but...
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, Scott's here, so we are cousins, but I think that'd just be a little too weird to...
Yeah, no, there's a line.
Yeah.
There's a line, Bob.
Sitting here junk out.
Ain't like that.
Just squeeze out the bottom. Excuse me, has anybody seen my pet beetle? I do love that one.
Yikes.
I've done that quite a bit over the years. I'm not gonna lie. When I go visit Voltar, my pet beetle might have to come visit too.
Yeah, this guy threw out IMAX 70 reels of the Back to the Future ride and chopped up the film and gave out sections to his friends.
Whoa.
You know, those theme park rides in particular, most of which are shot on 70mm, are in danger of really being like lost to history. You know, not for nothing, because like, you know, there's also like a room that the damn like thing is only meant to be shown in, like, you know, like 3 Disney rides in the entire world or something like that. But there's not an awful lot of love for the films in the first place, and for that reason, you know, like, everybody and their brother always wants to like remember fondly Captain EO, but nobody's ever like gone out of their way to make a proper, you know, like Blu-ray of it or something like that, and it gets all kind of tied up in rights and stuff. So yeah, like it's a footnote in film history, of course, but if you're interested in like unique ways of presenting something, it's definitely something that's worth exploring, at least in like a casual way.
Oh, that's right. This is one of the parts that I always found frustrated, because I would go and I would sit there and shoot those stupid things to power up, just to walk into this room and have the Chozo statue repower me. Yeah, the only thing about the theater, though, like right now, with the exception of a movie like I really wanted to see, for whatever reason, I don't know why I really wanted to see I, Tonya, so I went to the theater for that. But I don't go to the theater anymore unless it's IMAX, because the theater right down the street from me is phenomenal.
One of the best in the world, for sure. Well, I mean, it limits you to the movies that you want to see, obviously. You know, whoa! You know, I went to the movies last night, and it wasn't a movie that I'll ever play at the IMAX, but it's absolutely the kind of thing that you want to see in a theater, because, you know, like, it was a slow film, and it's the kind of film where it's very easy to... Did you just beat it?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
And this is normal mode, not easy mode. That is not how a really battle should go.
Broken!
In hindsight, I really, really, really should have downloaded a save file for somebody in hard mode, so I could just...
This is that's built into the game, right? Like, there's just a hard mode after you beat it on easy ones?
Yeah, I think. I guess we'll find out when I beat the sucker.
How much more do you think you got?
I don't know. If you got someplace to be, or if people in the chat start getting bored, then we'll move along, I guess. But I just, I definitely wanted to stay with this game instead of bounce around, both because I think Firebrand X is going to be doing that, and because it's easy when you bounce between games to miss little tiny things when you're testing.
Mm-hmm.
As we've learned over the years, we test with the same 5 games. It makes it so easy to figure out what's, you know,
Yep.
to look for the same problems over and over.
You gotta have your control.
Is there anything in here? Is this even worth doing?
I don't know. Looks kind of satisfying, though.
Oh, wait, no, that's because you... That's why. Alright, I get it.
You get it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Hey, so you remember those Extron Super Emojis?
Yeah.
They're selling for like $500 on eBay now.
Really?
Yeah, I sold mine to Art for like $150 or something, and I even felt bad. I was like, I think I might have only spent $140. Can you? Was that okay? And he was like, yeah.
Well, you're a generous soul.
I don't know if I go that far. I'm kind of a dick. I just take care of the people who take care of me. What is here? What am I missing? It's gotta be something. So you see how it says, you know, it shows the 0 or the O so that you're...
Oh, so you're looking for the hidden thing right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Oh, wait. I think... Yeah.
Give me one of those. There you go.
Worth searching for, though. Worth it. Let's take another energy tank.
It seems like this game needs it if you can blow up Ridley with like 2 bullets.
Fair. I do want to run back and grab whatever that thing was that I missed, though. I feel like even if it's only a missile tank.
Hey, you know what? Do me a favor. Why don't you turn back to the turn that shader off? We've been playing like that for a while.
Yeah, let's go to A3 now.
A little more pink.
Yeah, you're obviously one with the eye for color here. So why don't you be the one to talk about the shaders? Because me talking about shaders and color is kind of like a deaf person talking about music.
Well, I think that this one has like a little bit more blue in it, and the saturation's just up a little bit compared to the last one. Like the last one had kind of like an old worn out film print kind of look to it, and this one is like getting a little bit back to. So when it's like quote unquote off, what does that mean? Is that like meaning it's effectively showing what is?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Woozle, if you're still watching, but I think that a lot of these games, they pretty much made the brightness and the contrast and all the colors pop because it was, you know, with the dark screen of the Game Boy Advance, they really felt like, you know, that would help. So if you take it exactly as if, you know, as displayed, you do get a high contrast, high color thing. Which at first looks neat, but then when you go to, like, I'll go to 2 because we were just on 3. This actually looks more like,
It's maybe a little bit more like set to like real life, yeah.
Shit.
Maybe there's something to that. I hadn't really thought. I had initially thought that it was going to be better just off. But.
So the one advantage though, if you turn it off and then you turn the scan lines on full, now look at the difference in brightness between that and everything else.
Yeah.
So it actually kind of works in its advantage. Let me play with this for a minute. I still don't know.
What battery's dying on this thing? Is there a extension cable somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Somewhere. Hold on 1 minute. I thought I had it here. I'm sorry. Anybody need a beer?
I do. So it's my show now.
So,
yeah, exactly. Play away.
I think I'm gonna just kill all of Bob's hard work for a little while.
Just go up the pipe and go to the left.
Go up the pipe and up to the left, huh?
To the left, to the left. Excuse me.
It's an interesting look.
So I actually prefer scanline setting 1 and 2. We'll have to switch to that in a moment.
Is there any sense about like what people normally like? Do most people just play with it off?
I think most streamers play with it off. And I believe the reason is because when you have scan lines like that, it doesn't really look good unless you're watching it on the exact resolution that they were displayed in.
I can imagine that. You know, I went up and to the left. I don't know what I'm really supposed to be doing since that. Oh, look at that. It's a commercial. We're shilling for Guinness today. Got to make that cheddar.
Yeah, today's podcast sponsored by Guinness Cans.
Because Guinness wants this market right here.
Today's podcast sponsored by Guinness Drought Cans and Voltar's Nudity.
Nothing like Guinness and white dick. This is what I get for not paying enough attention, Bob. I have no idea where one should go.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I might be just making it harder for you, so maybe you should
Yeah.
resume.
Jump back in.
Go back in.
I mean, you weren't that far off.
Oh, good.
Alright, I'm gonna switch the scan lines back to the ones that I really think are pretty awesome, and I'll put the shader to 2, I guess. Yeah. Excuse me. Where am I going here? Down and 2 to the right. Hey, anybody who's watching, what do you think of the scan lines? Do they come across okay on the stream? I think because it's a 720 image in the frame of a 1080, it might be easier to see, but let us know. Or let us know if you want us to change it up, like which ones you prefer and all that. Oh, Scott, the Chozo statue's been broken.
That always freaks me out, man. They were there for ages.
Oh, it's a hint of what we're getting next.
Are we getting to the? What happens in this game? Do you play the whole mother brain thing before you do the whole
I
zero
think
suit
so.
thing?
And I don't think I'm going to do that on stream because that's just really, really boring. That's just one of those patient walk wait.
What, the
walk,
stream?
wait.
The zero mission part?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite part of the game.
No, I mean it's.
It might not be good for streaming though. You could be right about that. But
And it was
I remember
not my
that.
favorite part of the game at
Oh
all.
no. I thought it was just cool because I didn't know it was coming, and it was just like, oh my god, more game. Like, if you don't like that, then you really should be a fusion guy, I think. Like, that's like what this whole game's all about.
It's oh.
So, it doesn't look good to me. I can't see any scan lines here. No scan lines on this end. Scooter and Bobby.
So if you could see, maybe if you look in the bricks in the background, the A scan lines are up and down, vertical and horizontal to mimic the Game Boy Advance. But we could do it. We could do it this way.
It was more like regular old TV scan lines.
Yeah, let's play it like this for a while. It's so weird, but I genuinely do just prefer no scan lines most of the time on a flat screen TV.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I preferred them was in Symphony of the Night when I was using fake scan lines to cut through that weird dither checkering effect.
Yeah,
And
they
then-
use that dithering effect in a lot of PlayStation 1 games.
Right, and then right after I beat that game, Chris Covell found out that you don't that you can get rid of that. So, oops.
Oh. I see a nice dot matrix effect.
We should start coming up with fake sponsors, so that maybe someday somebody will sponsor.
That's a good idea, yeah. Lifestyle condoms. Looking at you. I think this is the market that you should be attacking right now.
You know, to be honest, I'd love to get sponsored by a company that's relevant to tech people, but that has nothing to do with retro gaming. So I could
Like
just
lifestyle condoms?
I just something so I could absolutely whore out whatever it is that they have, but not feel like I'm getting like not feeling like it would ever skew the results of anything that I'm doing. You know?
Yeah, we should get like sponsored by GitHub or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, something else happened there.
What's that fucking thing that Blue Apron? Blue Apron sponsors every podcast now.
Yeah, they've been doing it for. There's some people who just believe in the podcast model. They say that it's actually really good for advertising because people come to feel like the podcast host is like their friends, right? And then you have your close confidant podcast friend that's like telling you that you really need to, get a free book a month from Audible.com or something like that. Maybe I do. I think I hate shopping. I'm gonna use Blue Apron now.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Bob told me to do it.
I'm gonna come back for this one. I have a feeling this is one of those things that I could do in 2 seconds.
The
with
Dollar
Screw-
Shave Club.
Screw attack. Yeah, exactly. I'd shave my beard for a sponsorship. That's no problem.
Magnums, thank you.
I wonder if I could be relevant.
We can see scan lines now, apparently. And this is in
This is the horizontal.
The horizontal mode. Yeah, you could imagine that that really like crosshatch scan line thing would be exactly the kind of thing that the compressor on the streaming thing would be.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah,
thing
absolutely.
would be just cutting that kind of stuff out.
Are you tired of cutting into Fortnite time just by having to cook your own dinner?
You still have to cook your own dinner.
Just call Blue Apron. They'll come to your house and cook it for you. Wait, no, that's not. The
That's a service that I would pay some money for. If
Yeah.
it was Blue Apron prices, anyway.
That's a service that does exist for rich people.
Yeah.
Alright, so I covered most of the map. I should probably.
Bob, would you shave your nether regions for a sponsorship?
I,
Bob would do that for free.
who doesn't shave their nether regions? Who is making their poor partner in crime go down on just the fucking Wolfman? Like, that is terrible. Nick.
The American
Nick
way,
from
Bob.
HD Retrovision. I'd be willing to bet it's just a forest down there. Gotta put on a ring and use a metal detector just to find it through the trees.
So Bob shaves his balls, everybody, apparently.
Alright, blow left, go up into, or blow right, alright, gotcha. Wait, that's right, you can kill these things with just...
Oh, look at
Yeah.
that. Such a badass.
You go, Samus.
HD Forest Vision.
Oh, I like it.
Those poor guys.
Yeah, we've really not taken their name respectfully. HD Rectal Vision is still by far my favorite, but HD Smell-O-Vision somehow still sneaks its way in there now and then.
I would be so disappointed in you if you did that to my, like, product that I work very hard on. I don't know if I'd tell you, but that's how I would feel.
Let's go this way.
Now you got
So I actually want to see something. So it's a little hard to see that ledge with that there. So let me turn scan lines off and go to the original shader. It's still kind of tricky because it's a graphic on top of a graphic. Oh, a little easier than I thought. I can't remember what this was. Was this the thing that you used there? Yeah, there we go. Damn it. Having the screw attack sometimes hurts. That just helps.
Well, it changes the way you jump a little bit.
I think I missed the thing back there, but I think I'm coming back anyway. Not bad. Not bad. Wall jump
Look at
through
you.
the breaking thing. I'm a little proud of myself for that one. That was luck, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm still a little proud of myself for it.
Hey, look at that.
Son of a bitch. There we go. Alright, I guess as we're nearing the Mother Brain run, or whatever the end of this is there any other shader, anything else? Let me do scan lines off, shader A1, because that's the one that I think I've used the least. I really like this too. Does it have more of a bluish tone to it, you think?
This one? Well, we're in a blue room, so it's a little bit harder to see. I kind of feel like this might just be like a flat, like, saturation reduction. If I was to make a guess. It's hard to tell because it's so saturated in like the off mode.
This was the room that was the very suit needed room. It's gonna be a missile. We'll go through this crap for a missile. Yep. Hopefully there's something else here.
It keeps on going.
Oh, you piece of shit. I felt like there was something here.
How do you? This invites the big
Absolutely.
question: is how do you like the access to the X-ray scope, which is, if I'm not mistaken, not available to players in these Game Boy games?
I think it's really awesome. I do think though that I do think once the game is no longer new, it's like it was so cool to figure out. Oh, that's right. I gotta go down one more. Sorry. To figure this stuff out, and then like sometimes you'd have to, for all the really important stuff, you'd write down and remember. There's nowadays it's like, well, why don't I just go look it up? I'll just go Google it and go from there. I did love it in Super Metroid.
Yeah, I did too. I always thought it was like a very like, at least in its particular time, it was like a new way of just sort of like thinking about exploring mysteries in a video game of this kind, and I think that it was used so extensively in Super Metroid. Like once you got it, and you were not just like at a speedrunning kind of place, you were using it to explore the game. It became like just sort of like the way people like figured out how to get around into the secrets. So I think that they wanted to make you not be staring at like a code behind the game. They wanted you to be like interacting with the actual rocks and lava of like whatever planet you're on in this game.
Well, I guarantee you
probably
one
why
thing: if when we were kids we had capture cards, we would have been the ones that made the a screenshot of every single room. And
Oh sure, yeah.
because I remember we started messing with stuff like that for like videotapes, and then taking pictures of the screen. But that was still back in film era, so it's like it just wasn't.
I think that's how they actually made the maps in Nintendo Power. Was they took pictures of television screens, like on
Really?
film, and stitched them together. I could be wrong about that, but I overheard. I don't know. I heard on some kind of video once where they're talking about how they did it, and they were like, "Yeah, it was pretty old school." They probably had like a nice RGB monitor or something like that to do it with, and they, like there wasn't necessarily like they weren't making an app to be able to look at the map. They still had to like make it from the game.
Let me cheat and get my 3 missile power up here. Alright, so this is one of the things that I always enjoyed very much about Super Metroid and this, which is why I always make it a point to never go to that room in Super Metroid, so that when you enter, like...
Oh, we get to see the whole animation of it? Yeah, me too. 100%. Oh, wow, look at that.
So it's not as extravagant, but I still enjoyed it.
Well, there's great joy to be had from all the set-piece moments in Super Metroid. I mean, there's that, and then there's when that red monster, like, falls in the lava. That part's, like, the best part of the game, probably.
And then it comes back, but then
yeah,
it just disappears. I really did like
all the
these
set-piece stuff
cutscenes
with the
that they
Metroid
added.
at the end of it.
Look at that. So, did you know a hack was just released on romhacking.net? You know, in the original Super Metroid, and I don't know about this too, I want to check now, but you can't go back up. So I guess you can in this, but once you've entered and saved in Turian, you can't go back to the rest of the game.
In this game, in the real game.
In Super Metroid.
In Super Metroid, yeah.
So now there's a hack where you just patch that save game, or you patch the ROM, and then you can go and just go right back up.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love ROM hacking. So many cool things available.
Ooh, they look cool. So have you ever tried replaying The Return of Samus?
Yes, and I really liked it, but even with all the modern enhancements and everything, I really did like the original still.
Oh no, sorry, I'm talking about the original. Oh yeah, they made the Game Boy, the 3DS game is Return of Samus too, I guess, right?
Yeah, Samus Returns they call it, and I did really like the Game Boy game even today. Not having a map does make it really kind of annoying sometimes, but for the rest of my life, I think I'll always play AM2R instead. I just love that. Have you had a chance to play that?
I didn't beat it, but I played it quite a bit when you first gave it to me.
And I put it on your computer so you could play it in 240p, right?
That was on my small form factor playing in 240p, yes. That was my old MAME machine before it died.
Ooh, snuck up on me, you little bastard.
Yeah, the
Oh,
whole
no.
not having a map is no joke. It makes the game like very austere, but I quite like that game. Underrated game, in my opinion.
I thought I was gonna get through this without getting bit by a single Metroid. Ah, amateur.
That's you, baby.
Yeah, why not? Just in case.
Billy Mitchell loves ROM hacking and emulation too. Fuck you, Billy Mitchell!
You know, did you see that very bad Adam Sandler movie where Peter Dinklage plays like the Billy Mitchell-like character?
No.
So it was not a good movie. Even all the weed in the world wouldn't make it a great movie. But there's a whole like subplot. You know, sorry, spoilers for a not good movie. But there's a whole subplot about how the Billy Mitchell character always ended up cheating, and how he was never actually as good as everybody thought he was, and that was like a whole plot twist in the movie. And I wonder if the people that did that, or that wrote it, did that on purpose, as like a fuck you to Billy Mitchell, because it had been rumored that he had been cheating for years.
Well,
But
it's part of the content of the King Kong movie, isn't it? I mean, like, they teased that possibility.
they teased the possibility, but they wanted to still. I get the feeling they wanted to still be respectful. So
Might have also just made the better, like, you know, they had to edit together the footage that they had. And even with a movie that's, like, evidently, like, pretty, you know, like, juked for maximum emotional content as King of Kong is, like, they probably just didn't have a good story to, like, tease a bunch of conjecture about him at that particular time. I mean, it came out, like, you know, this is news right now. That's why we're talking about it.
I missed one. How did I fucking miss one? Oh wait, that's right. There's a whole other level. Should be good now, right?
So are we on Twitch right now, or are we on something else?
We are streaming on YouTube. I still don't know. I just want to do what everybody else wants. I could multi-stream on a million different things. The only thing that I notice is that I don't have any Twitch followers really, and everybody follows the YouTube channel. And also having to follow 2 streams of chat isn't the easiest.
Oh, yeah. So are you running through, like, a YouTube app, or is there, like, a third-party thing that, like, is meant for doing YouTube?
I am running OBS, the Open Broadcaster software.
Oh, you've been talking about it.
Come on, you piece of shit.
Those guys are... Those
And they
things.
grow back, yeah. Alright, well, I forgot that I was, like, right here, so let me see if I can do this with, almost no missiles.
Whoa, you don't have your missiles.
No. I think I'm gonna have to go back and, like, power up or some crap. God damn it, this is so frustrating getting stuck in the fucking water. Oh, so you can't, you actually have to use missiles, so I gotta sit here and fucking blow some Cheerios.
They come from everywhere. That's cool that they kind of made it look a bit like the Super Metroid brain. It's add a little consistency to that, you know, with the eye.
Yeah.
It really does look like kind of like a bigger version of that exact design.
Man, I am sucking so bad right now. I've done okay the whole rest of the game, and just right now, I can't. I feel like I think I should just off myself, power up, and then go back and do this in one shot. First death of the game, by the way.
Death by suicide, too.
Yep. You know, in certain speedruns, it's actually pretty common to die because it brings you back to a certain point. And
Really?
it's kind of like frowned upon, but I don't know. Alright, so I'm going to do the boring power-up thing, but it should only be about a minute in here because these suckers.
Get your grind on.
Yep. And I think that's why I vaguely remember this now. When I started to play this, you know, I don't want to say regularly because I never regularly played any one game, but I did remember certain tips. Like I'd always find myself powering up in certain places and just skipping the rest. I don't think I'd be a good speedrunner, but.
Have you ever? This is like a series where you have tried some of the concepts, and like, in that you have like experimented with sequence breaking and stuff in Super Metroid.
Experimented with sequence breaking and absolutely tried to get the best ending every time I played it. Mostly fails, by the way, but.
Yeah, I was surprised. You know, like when I was a kid, I could get to the swimsuit ending, and I could get to like north of 100% completion. And the last time I played this game, or Super Metroid, which was maybe 5 years ago or something like that, I did not excel at all.
Alright, so
you get like the whole game is trying to be like conservative and getting these guys blown up because every time it grows, like that's when you're losing your
yeah.
So you get to like a secure place and then blast away.
Bitch. Getting fucking stuck in that lava. Eat it.
This part of these games is always like this. This kind of sucks in Super Metroid too, and it completely sucks in the original Metroid. Just like you're just getting punished.
Alright, so I'll do regular missiles here because I'm gonna need to take my shots wisely once the eyeball comes out.
You can go back to refill your missiles if you're low before Mother Brain. I think it's a little too late for that. But you go check you're okay this time.
Yeah, that should be alright. Oops, if I don't fucking... I get my groove here.
Have you found that you've been invested in any other major Game Boy Advance games besides these two?
Oh, I loved the Castlevania one that I played.
Oh, that's right. You finally got. I never tried one of those. But when you were playing all that Symphony of the Night stuff, that's around that time.
Shit. Yeah, I know it's shameful, but I really am just now getting into the Castlevanias, and I've really dug them.
Yeah.
The ones with the non-linear ones, the ones that you could just kind of play wherever you want.
Yeah. Well, outside of the NES ones, I believe that's all of the major 2D ones, right?
Yeah.
Or rather, Super Nintendo was... So it's like after Symphony of the Night, basically. This would have been a cool haul for it to kind of like tilt, like in, like...
Yeah,
Is it
I
a
wonder,
Super Metroid?
was the Game Boy Advance underpowered, and that's why it couldn't tilt? Because I assumed it was pretty much as powerful as a Super Nintendo.
They could
But I did
tilt.
like that. You know.
They do those kind of like sprite movement effects in Game Boy Advance all the time. So I imagine they just didn't do it for that.
So that green right there, if I had saved a Super Missile, could I have gone in and gone back and like saved somebody like your or like Super Metroid?
Good question. I don't know. Seems like the kind of thing that why else would they? If in Super Metroid during the self-destruct, all the doors behind you are like kind of like grayed out, right? Like they don't really want you going back, and they don't let you.
Yeah. Oh, of course. You know, this is the first time I've actually taken the time to like explore during this countdown. It'd be really funny if this was like the one time I actually also died. I do want to see something though. We have 50 seconds.
I just want to put it on the record that a small demerit for this game, at the very least, is that I think that the ship looks so stupid in this game.
That's funny.
Like, come on, like that does not look as cool as the other ships.
No, Super Metroid. That
It
ship
looks
definitely
like he's
needed.
got like it's like the ship has jowls or something. Ooh, look at this. That's a little bit less dramatic than the Super Metroid one.
It's still pretty cool though.
Yeah, no, it's right. I like all the cutscenes a lot. There she is. The Game Boy Advance can scale and rotate 2 backgrounds.
Well, I absolutely had a blast playing this game on a 4K OLED with the Game Boy Advance HDMI. I'm not going to play through this because I can't imagine anybody would find this part exciting, and I'm not good enough at the game to make it exciting. But I mean, this is exactly what I was hoping to do: is just do the same thing I would have done by myself, but get to hang out and with other people, talk to all the awesome people in the chat. I really like doing these things. I think I'm going to do a bunch more. That way we get to do a hangout podcast and a game. And I want to always try to do it while testing something awesome like this. So
That could be fun too, or at least for the first leg of it, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can use this as an opportunity to get you to play all these games that I've been trying to get you to play. That
Name one.
Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance.
If Smoke Monster was here, he'd be jumping in right now. He'd be like, "Yes, and Advance Wars for the Super Nintendo." So, yeah, he's on your page for that one.
Yeah, well, he should be. There's a couple of if we get like DS mods going, like there's a lot of DS games I've been trying to get you to play for years.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there might be a crazy DS project. Not something that would go, not something for sale, but there might have been a crazy DS project being worked on.
That sounds cool to me.
See, something like this, I think the scan lines look awesome.
I think it always looks better off to me, but I think that is an interesting look. It does kind of like have a look to it that is, how dark is there?
Well, I think that's pretty much it. But I am confident enough now that I could do an actual review of the Game Boy Advance HDMI. And this is kind of while this is a fun laying back playing a game, this is also a bit of a behind-the-scenes look because, I mean, this really is the exact type of stuff I do when I test equipment. So those reviews that take, the 10-minute reviews on YouTube, it's like 25, 30 hours worth of playing games,
No doubt.
doing the comparison shots and all that stuff. I guess if anybody wants to see anything before we go, this is kind of a cool scene, so I could certainly mess with any of the settings. But if not, I think just expect a review and comparisons, and depending on how much time and equipment I can get my hands on, I would love to do a Game Boy Advance on TV hack video that shows this Game Boy interface, that innovation adapter, and all the other really terrible solutions out there.
Oh, and there are a lot of those.
I do like how some of the red rain is just diagonal.
Oh, look, it's turning. Yeah, you
The
can
white
see.
rain
Yeah.
it's a neat effect.
You can see that it's not like, yeah. Oh wow, what a good looking rain effect. They normally just have it going in one direction.
Let me turn off. Yeah, I'm sorry. I look at the top two lines, right? You see the horizontal bars across, and you see the rain coming, and it's just going across. Look at it now, and then look at it the way I had it before with the scan line and a different shader. It feels totally different. I don't know if you guys can see that in the stream, but
It's getting into the psychological impact of like resolution and stuff. It's always very interesting to it's a perceptual thing rather than it's your brain playing a certain kind of trick on you, and it's playing a slightly different trick on you when you watch it a different way.
So there you go. Most people will probably just set it and forget it, or you could be crazy like me and change it based on the part of the game you're in. I don't know. Well, thank you very much to Woozle for creating a phenomenal product.
For real.
Thank you to all the other incredible people in the Game Boy Advance scene. Obviously, got to say hi to Extrems. Unseen and the GC video stuff has been tremendous, and just a long list of people that have helped with this stuff. I'll do a real review soon, but anybody watching this got to see firsthand. It's a phenomenal product. I'm really excited that I got to be able to test it, and Jason from Game Tech will be taking care of the sales. And I will hopefully, if he's okay with it, have Woozle on very soon for an actual interview. And depending on where he and I are going to be, I'd love to do it in person, especially if you're going to be around New York. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Scott, for coming over and
Thank you for
this.
having me. This has been a lot of fun.
We're going to go chug a whole bunch of other beers off camera. So see you guys soon.